What do you think somebody could expect if they were to go out and buy their first boutique hotel in terms of cash flow?
I think you're going to have to wait about 12 months before you get any realistic cash flow. Just being transparent with the model that we do.
Yeah.
Because we find assets that are, good bones, but need work. They're value add. And so you tend to try to buy at a discount compared to the market. You come in, you do a bunch of renovations, you get a good operator, you add amenities, new marketing, new photos, you do a social media campaign, right? You build more awareness, you try to drive demand, which then can drive up your prices. But that takes about 12 months for it to really start to ramp up. And then if you have investors, they take the priority on the pref payment and any, there's the cash flow split. But like the first 12 months, your investors are going to get paid first before you get paid. So just realistically, but then after that, depending on your own investment level or the equity split, like how the deal is structured, you should be getting, a percentage of the cash flow. So it's all deal dependent. The interesting thing about the Solvang deal is we had to buy a house that's on the second lot with the hotel. That was just part of the deal because the current owners, that was sort of a requirement that they needed to have a place to live for a family member after the fact, and the house needed to come with it. So that's the funny thing about this one. But for that one, the house was about 30% of the purchase price, but only about 10% of the income. So that skews our ability to cash flow based on the amount of money that we had to raise. And so we're going to eventually end up selling that. And so that'll bring an influx of capital back to the investors and back to us. And then we'll remove some of the debt off of the deal. So by getting rid of that, we'll be able to cash flow and have an influx of capital when that happens. So, but we have another deal from another couple in the group. They bought a hotel for $750K and they're expecting, I think, to do like 1.2 million in gross.
Jeez.
Yeah, exactly. And that's because they will also build a brand, use influencers. They're willing to spend a little bit more money. They bought in a really good market. They found their niche, right? And so the thing with hotels is you have more levers that you can pull. And this might be true for industrial or like storage, I think is another good one where you can pull different levers. You make the updates, you add amenities that people are looking for. You can add different fees, right? So if we're going to market heavily towards pet families or pet couples in Solvang because we're a pet-friendly hotel, dog-friendly hotel. We know that there's a search term that's really strong out there for dog-friendly hotel, and there's only one hotel that services that search result right now. So if we can become that, and half of our guests are from dogs, then we can charge pet fees. And if we become well known for having additional pet amenities, that's going to continue to drive demand. But pet fees, resort fees, day passes, being able to add additional fees, but also not just fees, review strategy and increasing the hospitality side and really driving 5-star reviews so that you can increase your occupancy and outperform the market. That is where like the magic happens. You can't do that on multifamily. Multifamily, you can only raise rents so much. You can only add so many fees, which is why their cap rates are lower. But with hotels, yes, it's more management and hospitality intensive, but that is also a benefit to you because then you have a lot more levers that you can pull and you can try things out. And then anything like those fees, the resort fees, the pet fees, those go straight to the bottom line. Those are what I call found money because there's literally no expense or a very small additional expense for that money. And as we talked about, the NOI determines the value. So if I can add $500,000 in fees with no additional expenses, that's $5 million in valuation, right?
It's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. I just watching yesterday, Tyler Cobble did a video with Ken McElroy about his, he has like a boutique hotel type asset in Sedona. And he was talking about how he added, like he changed the alcohol, like it was like lower level wine and he changed it to higher level wine and like added more wine to it. And that right there added like $100,000 of NOI and, obviously increased the value by so much. So I think that's really interesting that in boutique hotels and stuff, there's a lot of creative ways you can add value.
Yeah. And the other thing that I want to mention, if anyone's thinking about getting into boutique hotels, is something that new people getting into the space forget to look at is your exit strategy. So if you want to hit a certain number at your exit, and again, we're talking velocity of money, we're talking the money is made when you exit or when you refi, that means that your exit price or your valuation needs to be realistic. And so yes, it's NOI divided by cap rate, but you also don't necessarily want to be the first one to ever achieve that price per room. So if your NOI divided by cap rate is way far and above anything else that's ever sold in the area, you still have to be realistic about it. But you also want to look at who your buyer is going to be. And so if you're going to be buying or selling to a Marriott or a hedge fund, institutional investor, you might want to go figure out what they require from the hotels that they buy. And you want to plan to make sure that you meet those standards, not necessarily the design standards and all that, but if they require certain air conditioning, or if they require food and beverage, or a certain square footage or certain number of rooms or whatever it is, you should go figure out who your next buyer is going to be, and then make sure that what you're building and renovating for fits within their buy box, so that you can go, when you're ready to sell, you have a market that you can go sell to.
Yeah, I agree, and that's industry wide. It's not just boutique hotels. I think that's something that's good to bring up, because I'm looking at a retail center for a buyer right now, and they're trying to like have this like super high unrealistic price that you can't buy at, and DSCR, and like there's a whole lot of other circumstances behind the reasoning of that. And I think that's good for people to understand, like, okay, if I'm going to buy this thing, who the heck's going to buy it when I'm done with it? Because when we force that appreciation, a lot of people want to cash in on that. They want to take that appreciation out, and velocity of money, they want to go to the next deal. So I think it's great. I think that's a great point.